How do you create something that's different than everyone else? You do it differently than everyone else. Here at Copeland Creative, we specialize in telling captivating stories of wild people, wild things, and wild places. We don't just capture the story, we immerse ourselves in it. We are a diverse, multi-talented media house based in North Georgia, and if you have a story that needs told, we want to help you tell it.
What's up, guys? Back on the podcast. We're finally getting back around to doing one. And today I have one of my very good buddies that we tried to figure out how long we'd known each other. We still ain't really figured that out yet, have we?
It's been a while.
This is Jeff FaFa Shelby.
That's right.
And we won't get into where he got his nickname. But so I've known FaFa for, thinking back, it's been at least, what would that have been? 2016, 15-ish?
Probably even
Sooner than that?
was it?
I knew Walt first.
Right.
I knew Walt first, and then met you through Walt because y'all were two peas in a pod there for years and years and years.
Oh
and,
yeah.
And then y'all went and worked with Drift. Then you went to Mossy Oak. Then you went to Barnett, and then now you're with what's it called, mixed grain.
Mixed grain media.
And now you're about to go do your own thing.
Yeah, we're gonna try it out. See what happens.
That's awesome. All right, before we get too far deep in this, I'm going to run the our buddies at Mike's. Stand by and go.
The Redneck Tech Podcast is brought to you by mikesarchery.com. They're a one-stop shop for virtually everything archery, bow hunting, and for your next outdoor adventure. Mike's Archery has been at the top of the archery game for over 50 years, and they want to give listeners of the Redneck Tech Podcast 10% off their entire online store using the code REDNECK10, all one word. Just put the code in before you check out, and your boys will hook you up. The guys at Mike's have always been good to us, and now they can be good to you too. Visit mikesarchery.com and get your gear now.
So awesome. Thank you, Mike's Archery. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Travis. It's about bow season. So that's the next thing that we're talking about. But actually, so the reason you're in town is we've got a photo shoot. You're going to be doing the photos. We're going to be doing the video for some new products, which is pretty cool.
I'm excited, man. It's it'll be a fun shoot. We got Carhartt coming in, some new products coming up, and it's fun that we did that photo shoot for Bass Pro last year, and it's January. I think it was.
We started. Yeah, we didn't start shooting until January. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that was a fun shoot. So when this came up, I was like, hey, let's go down to Georgia in mid-August and sweat and shoot some stuff.
I think it's only going to get to the 80s, so you're not going to get the full effect, the full, devil's butthole, but you're going to be really, really close. So I'm looking forward to it too. And, we've both been doing this long enough to where we talked about it a lot. Where we came from, both of us started when we both literally had no idea what we were doing.
No idea.
So give me just a quick recap of like how you got into this, where you started, and some of those like horror stories from the beginning days.
Oh man. Yeah. So, it all started from competition duck and goose calling. That's how I got into the industry. And, I was blowing a zinc call at the time. So I was like watching all the zinc videos and went to college, and I always wanted to do photography, like wanted to flip through DU magazines my whole life. And I was like, man, that's what I want to do, is take photos of ducks. I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then got to college, basically did like an internship, and I approached Fred. And I was like, hey man, I got to do this internship.
Fred Zink.
Yep. Fred Zink. And I was like, hey man, can you help me out here? Like, can I come film some of your stuff? And I didn't think it was going to happen at all.
Yeah.
And so he sends me back to the office, and he goes, yeah, go back there and talk to Walt. And I was like, okay. So like I go back there, and Walt was just like, he didn't really want to give me the time of day. He was just sitting on his computer. I don't know if he was editing or whatnot. And I was like, we talked for like 10 minutes, and I was like, damn, I don't think this is going to happen.
How old were you at the time?
I was probably 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
And then I remember after that meeting, I went back and like the shittiest Photoshop, like I made this devil dog shirt and I sent it to Walt, and I was like, yeah, he's gonna like that. And I remember afterwards, Walt's like, he's like, I remember getting that, and he's like, what is this? Like, who is this guy? Why did he do this?
Was this that the 19-year-old kid that just walked in here the other day?
Oh my gosh, it was terrible looking back on it. But man, they gave me a shot, and that next fall we went to Canada and we did the whole filming thing. And
you're living your little boy's wet dream.
Yeah, and literally after that, it was basically like, hey, offered me a full-time position, so I left college. And I mean, like, college didn't really show me anything about anything.
No, me either.
And I remember getting there and Fred sitting down with me, and we were making up the new DVD covers.
Yeah.
And he's like, can you do this? Can you do this? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And I'm like, I have no idea how to do that. And I'm just
fake it till you make it.
And I'm just praying he leaves so like I can figure this out. And then there was times where I'm just like, man, I don't think Photoshop can do that. What you're asking me, it doesn't happen. I'm sorry. I don't know. He's like,
yeah,
sure.
That button, I don't think there's a button for
and
that.
he always said, he's like, there's got to be a button for it. I'm like, I don't think there is, man. I don't know. But there definitely was buttons for it.
I got a question. So I'll remember my first time, and this was Final Cut 7 days. This wasn't even premiere days. This is pre-premiere, just to age myself a little bit. I'll never forget the first time I saw a timeline open with clips in there and layers and colors and thinking, no chance I figure out how to do this.
Done.
I am so out of my depth.
Terrified.
I have been hired to do this job. There's no way in hell I'm going to be able to do it. I'll never forget it.
Yep.
Was that similar to your first experience?
It was. I mean, I remember like just filming, and then I'd sit there with Walt, and I remember we were doing Avid back then.
Oh,
we were editing on Avid.
Oh yeah.
So he had like this color coded keyboard, and I was like, what is that? And then I'm like watching him go through these clips, and I was like, oh boy, I'm in over my head. And then he was like, hey, he's like, you're going to edit your first basically section of this DVD. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And like, I don't know how long it took me.
Yeah.
Probably forever.
Yeah.
And I remember getting it done, and I was like, you want to watch it?
Yeah.
You know, and then he's like, all right, so we'll start over. And I'm like, shit.
It was that good, huh?
Yeah. He's like, good base, but let's try that again.
Yeah. I just remember seeing all the, probably at that time it was 2 or 3 layers of video. It was probably like your standard dialogue, and then some B-roll, and then maybe like a lower third. Oh, sorry, my phone's ringing. Oh my goodness! All right, shut up. It was literally, and maybe like a lower third graphic. So there was 3 layers, and I'm looking at that I'm looking at the human brain. Like, bro, no chance.
No.
And then you break it down, and it starts to make sense. But like, you walk into that room, or you walk into your first serious edit, or looking back, they weren't even serious edits. I thought they were. But you look at it like, bro, I'm just a redneck from Georgia. Why did I think I could do this? And who was dumb enough to hire me to do this?
Right.
By looking at me, looking at the pedigree, which was none, somebody is now paying me money to do this thing that I am so not qualified for. But I don't know about you, but within, I would say 3 months, I got confident in what I was doing. And within 6 months, I was pretty much, I'm confident now. Like, you can hand me just about everything short of back then, like a Lee and Tiff edit, which was 2, 3, 4 cameras. Mm-hmm. Like, that intimidated me. Like, if it was a 1 camera deal, I'm your guy. 2 cameras is going to take me a little bit. 3 cameras, that's going to suck. 4 cameras, yeah, don't even send it to me. And then I remember going on my first multi-camera shoot where there was more guys than just me. Because, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand about this industry is you're the camera guy, you're the producer, you're the photographer, you're the sound guy.
Everything.
You're the coach, you're the cheerleader. You have to, hold it together in the stand sometimes. You have to hold it together. You moving decoys, you're tweaking this. There's really no end to what you're doing. And then you talk about outside of our industry, there's a different person that does all of those things. Yep. There's literally a guy that goes and gets your cards and your batteries for your camera. And it's like, nah, dog, I towed all that on my back. Yeah. And it's so hard for people to get, which, well, I've said this on the podcast, like, there's still people in my family that still don't understand what we do. It's still a foreign concept to say, so What, just people go hunting and they want you to video it and you just go with them? Not exactly. It's usually built around brands or a film or a series, but just the concept of, I had somebody come in here the other day and like they walked in the office to meet with me and they're like, I thought you just worked out of your house. And I'm like, no, this is a fairly serious operation around here.
Kind of a real deal.
Yeah. So, but like, what was I'm told my story and I told you about it with Chance, shortening the clips. Like, what was your first like aha moment? Can you remember what that was? Like when you were in, it's probably something that Walt showed you and you're like, oh, I could have done that this whole time.
Oh, keyboard shortcuts.
Oh yeah.
Like, and then knowing that I could actually pick and choose my keyboard shortcuts.
Yeah.
It's like, you, where was this whole time? And I was like,
yeah.
And I was like, now I can actually like do things. And once you start figuring that out, it kind of like, it's just a snowball effect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, all right, now I'm off to the races.
Well, because at the end of the day, it's all based on how long it's going to take you to do something. You're selling your time.
Right.
So how long is it going to take me to shoot this? It's going to take 5 days. How long is it going to take to edit? It's going to take 7 or 8. All right. Well, if I, bid this thing at 7 or 8, but I can get it to where I can do it in 5. Okay. Well, now I've got 2 extra days to go shoot something else, 2 extra days to sleep,
Right.
2 extra days to do anything else. And it's like, you start to figure out those keyboard shortcuts buy me time.
Oh yeah.
They buy me so much advantage over dragging and clicking a mouse or running a pad. And it's a game changer.
Oh yeah. I mean, to the point where there was keyboard shortcuts that I set everything up on mine where my right hand never had to leave the mouse. So
Yeah.
everything I needed, I could get with my left hand. And that just helped so
Daniel
much.
Thomas told me about, he went to a class when they bought a Red at Realtree years ago. And he said the lady teaching the class was editing and never touched the keyboard or never touched the mouse. He's like, bro, it was like, what's the movie? Minority Report, where they like, move things around on that board. He's like, that's what I felt like. I was like watching something from a sci-fi movie. He's like, cause she's like grabbing clips and setting in and out points and dragging them into the timeline and she ain't touched her mouse. And I'm thinking, I thought I was a good editor. I've been doing this for 15 years and this chick is running circles around me. So there's levels and she, this chick was on a whole nother level, but but I'm sure, I know in Premiere, there's ways to customize your keys to where you can make it do certain things.
Yep.
I've not dove down that rabbit hole, but because that scares me, to be honest. I'm going to make a keyboard shortcut that just deletes my crap and formats my hard drive. Right. Be my luck. But so now you still do a good bit of video, but like your thing is photos and you take some incredible photos. Like you have an eye for it, which that's what you wanted to go into in the beginning anyway, was photos. So like, what is it about photos and taking pictures that are, heck, every other picture we're seeing from Tracker and in the magazines are ones that you took last fall. So like, what is it about pictures for you?
I just think that for photos, it's just that there's something about that capturing that one moment in time that can tell a broad story.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, for me, it's like an intimate deal. Like, you see this amazing thing and I love to build out the image in my head, like as I'm looking at it, and I can already see the end product. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so fun to just be able to sit down and shoot and do angles and modify a bunch of stuff to create this artwork. Cause that's what it is. It's a piece of art, 100%. Right?
If you do it right,
If you do it right. Yeah. And I've always loved just capturing these moments that can tell a broad story, and just, especially with, you get critters involved, you might capture something just truly remarkable. That's just insane.
Well, I've tried to explain to people, I'm not a photographer in terms of like, I don't view photos like you do. Like, I don't see the end product. I'm a spray and pray guy. I'm like, if I take 10,000 photos, I'm going to screw up and take 5 good ones. That's how I approach photography. Whereas, when I was with you, you really looked for that image. You really like put yourself in that position. Whereas I'm taking 10,000 photos, you're going to take 500,
right? And
half of yours are going to be bangers, and I'm going to take 10,000. I'm still going to have less bangers than you, but just because I think that's because I consider you a photographer, I consider myself whatever the step below that is.
Right.
I'm going to screw up and take some good ones. And I know what to look for in terms of light and composition.
Right.
But like for me to like view it like an edit, because I do that with video, is I see how I want this scene to play out in my head. And I was like, all right, I know I need this thing. I need this thing. I need this thing. I need him to go from here to here. I need the dog to do this. I need the guy to load his gun here. I know how I want it to happen, but I get to do that in parts. Whereas what you're trying to do is try and do all those things in one shutter click.
Right.
And I think that's the difference. So the other thing I was going to ask you is, obviously you're not the spray and pray guy like I am, but like, what is your favorite thing to take pictures of? I mean, I would assume it's ducks, but like, if it's not ducks, then what would be like your second favorite?
Man, that's a tough one. Like,
and why, I guess.
Anything with water, like if there's water around, it just makes it, I don't know, just like sexier. Just, I don't know, there's something with that water element that makes everything pretty. I mean, anything duck related, because that's what I grew up doing, was duck hunting is awesome. The deer hunting stuff is really cool. I still think today my favorite image that I've ever done was with Jeff Lindsay at his place in Illinois.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one a million times.
Yeah, and like that image was just, I remember we crossed that creek and I stopped and I looked, and Jeff's like, what? And it's like, you're going to shoot a big deer. We're going to bring down to this creek. I said, we're going to wait for the sun to rise. You're going to be right there in the middle, dragging that deer. And luckily he got a nice buck. And I think it took probably an hour to get that, just the one shot, the one shot. And Jeff is sweating, and then it took me, I think I edited that image for 4 hours.
But here's the thing. Here's the difference in that is like, how many people, because I know how, I mean, I can answer this question for myself. How many clients or buddies do you have that are willing to go and do a picture or a scene for a solid hour to get one picture?
One picture.
Very few.
Very few, yeah.
They, I mean, which we talked about it last night. We all get pretty dang stir crazy. But like also everything we do is very pointed. And like when you walk by and you saw that spot, you're like, I have to take a picture right here doing this thing at this time of day. Like you knew in your head, these boxes have to get checked. And if all these boxes get checked, it's going to be a banger.
It could be, yeah.
So, but you've been doing a lot of offshore stuff too.
Oh man.
So what's that like? I've done very little of that.
I've never had any interest in doing offshore stuff at all. I didn't get it, didn't understand it.
Yeah, same.
And then we went out and did it for, I think the first time I did it was at Mossy Oak. And
was that with like Voodoo and them down there, or it's Louisiana?
No, this was actually, we do it Mexican Gulf.
Mexican Gulf. Okay. Yeah.
Those guys are awesome. And then the first one was, I think I did Costa Rica. And we did sailfish, and I was like, that's pretty epic. And I got scuba certified. So like I dove off the back of the boat.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Swam down to them, filming it. We even had like the boat drive off.
Do you have the underwater stuff?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, well, that's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. But then I saw blue marlin, and when I'm telling you, like the offshore blue marlin fishing has a grip on my life that like I literally like, I was like, if everything hits rock bottom, I'm going down to Florida, and I'm like, I'll be a third mate, fifth mate for whatever marlin boat.
Yeah.
That stuff is just, it's like being in a car crash, but in the best way possible. I mean, there's something about a massive marlin just losing his mind off the back of the boat.
Yeah.
That boat's in full reverse, and you're dumping water over the transom, and and it's just like unbelievable. And half the time I'm like, I hope I got that.
I was looking over my camera this whole time.
It's one of the only things where I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, well, I better hit record. But yeah, it's, if you ever get a chance to do it, it's
I've never done anything like that. Like I've done like some, like we went out to catch amberjack, and we did some bow fishing for like mahi off of Key West. And bro, it was just so hot. It was so hot. And we weren't on a nice boat like y'all are on. It was on not a nice boat. And I just was like, get me off this boat. And we were bow fishing, and those mahi are like, they're so fast. trying to hit them with a bow. It's like you're going to shoot 900 times before you hit one.
Oh yeah.
So you're holding the camera, pointing at the water, trying to hit a mahi, and it's like miss. And thank God that's like that cash record on these FX6s saved our lives. I'm not even hitting record until I know they hit one. Because otherwise it's like, we're going to fill up 3 cards and there's going to be nothing on it.
100%.
But which somebody taught me a trick years ago, the way that the cameras create the thumbnails to be able to put your hand in front of the thing. So you see your hand and know the clip before that's the good one.
Yep.
Like that was a dirty little secret somebody taught me a long time ago. What's been, if you could pick like one trip or one adventure you've done, what would you think would be your favorite one? And then here's the second thing to that. Like if you've done one that was your favorite, what's one that you hope to never have to do again? Because those are always my favorite, those stories.
Oh yeah. Favorite one. Oh, man, it would have to be probably either sail fishing for, I'd say this last one I did in Isla Mujeres, Mexico.
That was your favorite one?
I think so.
Wow.
As far as the content that I captured, like
Okay.
we found this massive bait ball of sail or bait fish, and there was what I thought was like 20 to 30 sailfish on it. And I got the drone up, flew it over top of it. And then Dane, the first mate on the boat, he jumps in the water and the bait ball basically like comes right through him, turns around, and then he looked down and there's hundreds of sailfish below him.
You gotta have to show me this.
And it's like some Nat Geo kind of footage. Insane. Absolutely insane. That was like, as far as filming, because like Captain, I was sitting up there with Captain and he's laughing because he's like, I'm losing my mind filming this.
Yeah.
Like going crazy.
But how many times does that happen? I mean, that's not, I don't know if that's a once in a lifetime thing, but it sounds like it's pretty dang close.
I'd say it happens a lot in nature.
But you're not there to capture
it, right?
Yeah.
And it would just happen to be, I think the boat was like a pretty good way. Like I just happened to take off and I saw some birds, some frigate birds, and just flew the drone out there and got over top of them. And I was like, Cap, I don't know where the drone's at. I said, find it and drive the boat to it.
Yeah.
It's on.
Yeah.
Worst trip. Oh boy. Where do I start?
Got a bunch of them. I know, me too.
I mean, I feel like elk hunt. I did a elk hunt in Colorado.
Oh, you told me this story.
Yeah. We hunted for, I don't know how many days. Never saw an elk.
Yeah. I've done a few of those.
And we did we're going to get up because it's public. You
Yeah.
know, we're going to get up as early as possible.
Yeah.
We're going to climb to the highest peak because no one's doing it. I'm just like, oh man, it's going to suck.
But at least you knew it was going to suck before you started.
yeah.
The worst ones are like, hey, we're just going to walk over this ridge. And then when you get there, it's like, no, we're going to death march because one just bugled 19 canyons over. Those are the worst.
Yeah. So we started hiking up and it was like, I don't know how many hours in the dark, but I didn't think the sun was coming up.
It's never coming up.
And it was just vertical. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then
Ohio boy.
Yeah, right before daybreak, we get to like the crest. And I remember just like, this is where they're going to be. They're going to be everywhere. Shit you not. We crest the hill. There are tents, RVs, cars. There's a freaking trail coming up the backside of the mountain. And I'm just like, shoot me right now. I'm done. This is horrible. I was just like,
We went on one. This is probably 18, 19. My phone's ringing again. Oh my gosh. We kind of it was a public land deal. Ryder was on this one with me. We got there just right at like last light to set up camp. And we drove on this public land spot over an hour and a half to find somewhere to park. Every place you could put a truck, there was a truck. Every place you could back in an RV, there was an RV. We, honest to God, ended up stopping and setting up camp next to someone because there was nowhere to go. And I just knew in my mind, this is about to be awful. And I'm like, what we need to do is literally sleep in the truck and tomorrow find somewhere else because this place was crawling. We ended up calling in, I can't even remember now, 11 different hunters in the first couple of days. Oh, bro, it was so bad. I must have had that freaking bugle rocking because I kept calling people in. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to have to stop calling because this is bad.
Yep.
And it was just one of those things to where like, which this is a whole nother talking point debate, but like, I like the fact that people are out hunting. I mean, obviously that keeps us employed, but at some point, like, what's happening
Right.
when there's this much ground and there's this many people? I got in that, not an argument, but I was talking to a guy from NWTF, and he was telling me about, hunting numbers are down and this, that, and the other. We need to work on hunting recruitment. And I'm like, there's no way. And he's like, well, the numbers don't lie. I said, okay, well, one of two things is happening. There are less hunters, or there's less people buying licenses, and there's a lot of people hunting illegally.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is what I think it is. Or there's less people hunting, but those people are hunting more than they ever have. I was like, one of those two things has to be happening, because if you talk to anybody who enjoys chasing turkeys or elk, which is, I would say, are the two biggest things on public land now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know some guys do deer stuff, but they're crazy. Especially with the suburban stuff now, like just the public land stuff.
Unreal.
But for turkeys or elk, it's insane.
It is.
And all you hear is horror stories of, hey, I had this turkey gobbling on public, and I look on every ridge and there's literally just dudes converging on this like bottom, and this turkey sees everybody and just runs.
Yep.
And it's like a sprint to get to this turkey that's gobbling, and he's the only one in the county, and everybody heard him gobble apparently.
Oh yeah.
So like, what's your take on that? Like, what's been your experience?
I'd say pretty much the same. I mean, every public place that I know of around where I live and places that we've gone, I mean, it's they're everywhere. I mean, like,
And it's usually younger guys too, right?
It is, which is cool to see.
Which it is,
right?
exactly.
It's
I
great.
agree.
You know, it's always a catch-22. It's like, you want people to enjoy what we love to go do,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you want it for yourself.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's a hard to do. Well, it's like I compare it now to, like, obviously we produce Sequel One and hunting publics out there, and there's these guys that are really opening people's eyes to how they can do hunts on a budget. But it's like, I equate it to when I thought I was going to be a duck hunter, which was, I was dumb for ever thinking that. It was back, Duck Commander was so big.
Yep.
And like, there's an argument to be made that they ruined it for about 10 years, because everybody, oh my gosh,
I wanted to try it.
there was a boat ramp. There was 97 trucks there with 14 John boats shooting at the same 12 ducks 900 feet in the air.
Right.
And it's not like, I don't the limiting factor now is guys that are willing to go get permission, or willing to put themselves out there, willing to be told no. But then you have that debate. I had this debate with somebody, not really a debate, but just kind of like, the reason fishing does so much better than hunting is very simple. If you see a body of water outside of like a farm pond, you can go fish that body of water for the most part.
Right.
Whether that's a lake, the ocean, inshore, offshore,
Yep.
you name it. If you've got a boat or want to, pay somebody, you can go fishing, and it's the resources there for everybody. Hunting is not that way.
Right.
You can't just drive down the road and see a deer on the side of the road and be like, hey, I'm going to go hunt there.
Yep.
I guess not how it works. And so it's the access. It always comes back to, how do we, good God, this thing is loud. How do we increase access? Well, you got to do what Sequel One and Hunting Public are doing. You got to burn it down. You got to put boot leather out there. You got to work harder than everybody else. And I think that's why I think the younger generation loves it. I think that's why that's a whole part of the challenge, is finding the deer, getting the permission for the deer, or, the turkey or whatever, and then going in there and trying to get him killed.
Yep. And then the payout's better when you work that hard.
Mhm.
I mean, because a lot of people are just going to wake up and go hunt a public spot. But if you grind your ass, find everything, get
Mhm.
permission, and finally, and you execute it and do it well, oh, that payout's tenfold better than anything else.
Yeah. And then, I mean, obviously needed to be in better shape, but like, my favorite thing to do in the world is to chase elk. Like, it's, I did 11 different hunts, like 2 or 3 a year for like 3 or 4 years before I ever laid hands on an elk. And I tell people that, and like, a lot of those were private land outfitted hunts that I was filming that we didn't kill anything. And they're like, well, then how did you keep going? I'm like, you hear one bull bugle in the wild, and that doesn't do something to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your wood's wet, bro.
Right.
Like, there's something I don't know. It does something to me. It's like a turkey gobbling in the timber. It just does something to you.
It's like a haunting something, just visceral, like hits you in the chest, and then like when they get close and they are tuned up,
nothing better.
oh my God, it's one of the few things now that I film that when it all goes down, I have the shakes.
Oh yeah,
because everything else, I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
You know, I've done it to the point where I'm like, I can relax and you know, consciously think about things, but when an elk comes barreling in, I'm losing my mind.
See, that's something else I'd like to talk to you about. You've been doing this even longer than I have, since essentially 2009. I try my best to keep myself grounded and think about things through the lens of guys that don't have the opportunities that we do. But how jaded are you towards different places to hunt and things that you do now?
Very jaded.
Yeah. It's not like I tell people, when you've gotten to hunt the best ground in the best situations in the best time of year across the, for turkeys, for deer, for elk, for moose, it's really hard to want to go climb in the stand here at home and try and shoot a 110-inch 8-point. Like it just, or run around in the mountains trying to chase a public land turkey.
Right.
I mean, I know you've had some of the just craziest opportunities I've had because we've shared camp together.
Yeah.
You've gotten to go, you've been to Deseret. You've been to some of the best ground in the world for whitetails in Kentucky. Like it just hits different, and it's hard because I have these conversations with guys that they'll never get to do that.
Right.
Ever. They'll never get to experience 1% of it. And for you to explain to them, I don't really want to get up and go chase 3 geese in that field in the morning. I just don't. And like, I hate that sometimes.
Right.
Because that used to be like, heck yeah, we're going to go shoot some geese. Let's go. And it's like, no, bro, I'm going to sleep in the morning.
I just got back from Canada. I've been up there for a month. I've been grinding every day.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you want to go out here and possibly shoot some? You're like, not really.
Yeah.
You know?
And people think you're a jerk. And and my wife tells me that all the time. She's like, Caleb, you don't understand. And I was like, but I do understand. And I hate that. And it's like, but again, like I kind of said earlier today, how can you be negative when you get to do this job? Like, do we get paid a lot? Not really. But at the same time, there's so many worse things we could be doing. And there's so many. Can we make more money being an accountant? Heck yeah. But will we be as happy? Will we have those experiences? Will we have those stories for kids and grandkids and friends? No, we wouldn't. And, and that's, I know you'll feel the same way, but that camera has got me in places and doing more things than I could ever imagine.
Yep. 100%. And I've always said it, like, I've got to witness and see the world through a 2-inch screen, and I try to make it a point, especially nowadays, to actually maybe peek over that camera and enjoy the moment. And I've said, I've lived multiple lifetimes through the eyes of hunting and fishing. And the inner kid of me that was just flipping through a magazine, is like, if I could go back and be like, hey buddy, just wait.
Yeah.
Like, your mind's going to be blown. What you are going to do and stuff you never thought you would do.
Yeah.
And you get to do it every day and you get paid for it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, but it can be a lot of work. It can be tough times, and it's time away from family, time away from everything.
And you get to deal with some real good egos at times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's that's the downside. But like the thing that, which I know you relate to this too, but when you see an image you took in Bass Pro's catalog,
oh man,
you see it in a DU magazine, you see it as an ad inside of a big box store. You get to see videos that you made that are shared by Bass Pro Cabela's. You get to see things that you did that are on news broadcasts that they licensed your footage for that. You get to, you name it. There's just like, I got a thing of catalogs down there that we've taken images for, and like,
so cool.
Yeah, it never gets old.
No.
And especially when, like, how many times did you flip through a Bass Pro catalog growing up? I did a bunch.
Right. 100%. And like, it came full circle for me too, because between DU and wildfowl, those were the two that I was always flip through, you circle stuff.
Yeah.
I'd look at the images.
Hey, Dad, I want this one for Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I don't think we can afford a new boat, but all right. And, when I was working at Mossy Oak, we were shooting a lot of images, and I happened to walk into my good buddy who worked at Mossy Oak at the time, Jake Meyer,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, oh, Wildfowl just came out with their new Big Gear Guide issue, and he slapped it down on the table, and I was like, is this for real? And he's like, what? And I'm like, I took that image. He's like, on the cover, and I was like, yeah. He's like, no shit. I was like, no shit.
Yeah.
I had no idea because we'd send him a bunch of stuff every month.
Yeah.
And sure shit. I mean, so I was like, and then at the same time, DU gave me a beautiful full page spread in that same month and their Big Gear Guide. And I was just like, just thinking back being a kid, flipping it through the magazines, like, man, that's awesome. And then like within the same month, like I got the cover of the magazine and then DU a full page spread.
Well, that's so cool to have for yourself. Like I'd never experienced that. And then I met, do you know Chris Irwin? Have you ever met Chris Irwin? So he was one of the staff photographers for Bass Pro for years. And he was there for 20 something years, 26 years. So, and he's like you. He's a photographer to the core, you know, he doesn't never do video, never has wanted to do video, but most of their covers, tons of their like epic Western imagery, that was Chris. Like that's what he did.
Yeah.
And, I'd flipped through that magazine for years and years and years. And then, Chris, and I remember certain images and Chris would send them to me. I was like, you took that? He's like, yeah, that was in Wyoming on this and that and the other. And he's like, yeah, that was on a photo shoot for this and this. He remembers them all, you know, and then you finally get one in there, you know, even if it's like just the corner, it's like, oh yeah, that's all it took.
Yeah.
You know,
it's awesome.
It doesn't ever get old, man.
It doesn't. It really, I mean, like you said, it could be that big. It could be the cover. And you're just like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. See, that's my thing is like, which I probably never will. Cause I don't think I'm a photographer. I might screw up, but like to get the cover of something would be cool.
Really
regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
How many covers do you think you've done to this point?
I think.
Do you have them all?
I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think there's 3. I think I have 3 covers.
That's awesome.
And to be honest, I didn't know I was going to get any one of them. Not a one. Wasn't informed or nothing.
Were they all waterfowl?
2 of them were waterfowl, and then one was it was a fishing one, and it was a photo that like just took a photo. We had a marlin come in and shark ate it in the Bahamas. Just took a photo of the guy holding the marlin, just the head of it. Didn't think nothing of it, and all of a sudden somebody was like, "Hey, check this out!" And I was
you need to get like a really cool like shadow box or something that you can like keep them.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hopefully we get more. That's
yeah. Well, hopefully we do. Yeah. I'd love to be able to see. Well, I mean, that's kind of like, you know, with this Bass Pro project, you know, like now the goal for this Bass Pro thing that you helped shoot last year is we're going to, you know, shoot another season this year is to be able to air at least episode 1 at the Big Ducks convention in Memphis, which is usually, you know, first, second week of August every year. So like now we have a goal, we have a target, we have an ultimatum. It was like, hey, here's what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and accomplish these goals. We're going to try and tell a conservation story. We're going to get people excited about hunting ducks. We're going to get people excited about these new lines of products, you know, about Northern Flight, about Shadow Bark, about all these things. And like, which, you know, we talked about this too, but trying to craft a story that checks all those boxes, that is exciting, is educational, shows a conservation story. Like it's hard.
Yep.
And then you try and, you know, I try and communicate with you across the table as the client. And it's like, hey, I'm trying to take what's in your brain, drag it out and say, okay, he wants this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the best way of doing that usually is like somebody send you an example. I love this one and how this was done. But a lot of times, at least with most of our clients, they don't know what they want.
Nope.
And you either have to like inception that idea in their brain, or you have to say, all right, here's 10 things. Which one you like?
Yep.
All right, you like this one. Why do you like this one? What's the goal? You know, and the end of the goal is, you know, most of the time the goal is pretty simple. So, you know, we want to sell some products and we want it to be cool. It's like, okay, well, what handcuffs or what box are you going to put me in? You know, usually that box is like, okay, well, the Bass Pro is not necessarily a box, but like we have to tell a conservation story.
Right.
Well, if you tell the conservation story of, you know, the Mississippi Flyway, it's going to slow the story down. It just has to, because you're going to have to get into interviews. You're going to have to get into, you know, dirt work and drone work and all those things, which is cool and it's beautiful. But if we're trying to market to the TikTok brain, we've got to kill ducks. We've got to make
That's
it
right.
fast. We got to do, so like, how do you do both of those things? It's hard, man. It's a hard thing.
100%. And it's tough to peel something out of a client's mind and try and put it to actual something tangible that you can look at and that they're happy with. And most of the time you're always going to be a little off, but sometimes you nail it right on the head.
And and a few rare occasions you do it better than they even thought.
Right.
And those are like, yesterday we had a call from a client who was super pumped about some stuff we've been doing. Like those are so rare.
Oh yeah.
Because, maybe they're rare to actually get the call. I think that clients feel that way. They just aren't very good at communicating it. But I mean, I'm sure you agree with me. It's like somebody calls and said, man, you killed that. I loved it. Everything about it. It's like, I love hearing that.
Right.
I like to know that we're doing things right,
Yeah, absolutely. That verbal affirmation and, people talking about your work, and that's half the time what you live for. Cause it takes a lot. It's a lot of, work and effort and a lot of your brain power. And, it's like, hey, here's my baby.
Yeah, exactly right. What I was going to say is you're taking something, conceptualizing in your head. You're trying to tell that through the lens to solve a problem for them.
Right.
But it also is painted with your subjectivity in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
And if somebody doesn't like that, I've gotten a lot better about it now, but like in the early days and somebody's like, I don't really like that. And I liked it. It's like, well, why not?
Right.
And you kind of get defensive and pissed off about it. It's like, well, that's epic. Like, how can you not like that?
Yeah.
Well, I was really thinking it was going to look like this. It's like, well, you never told me that. Right. I thought you wanted this, but you really wanted this. You wanted it super fast. Well, I cut it slow, or I cut it super fast and you wanted it slow. But like having, which I guess the verbal affirmation, if you don't get it, the only other way you get it is like they keep calling you on stuff. That's I guess that would technically be the first best thing,
right.
but the affirmation's solid too.
Yeah, absolutely. What about, this would be my question to you, because I know I've dealt with this, and especially now that I feel like I'm getting older in this, this filming and photography.
We old, bro. We getting old right? Now. Yeah.
And, I'll scroll through TikTok and Instagram, and I start seeing some of the stuff that these kids are doing these days. And I'm like, I've never shot anything like that. I'm like, that's insane. It's like, I start to get that imposter syndrome. I'm like,
oh yeah.
Am I
daily?
Am I good?
Yeah.
Or am I just thinking I'm good? Like how do you battle that? Right.
I think that there's a couple of things. I'm fully aware that everyone in this office downstairs is a better shooter and editor than I am now, and I'm okay with that. I'm a better networking, personable guy than they are. That's the role I've fallen into, which is fine. But seeing some of this stuff coming out of some of these guys, especially on the video side, the photo side, like some of them are over the top. They're like, that's really good. Others, if you really pay attention, half of the shots are throwaway shots that are just incredibly fast with really good music selection.
Yeah.
And they're just a lot of flair.
Yep.
People like it. But this is where I go back to with that all the time is social media has ruined a lot of things. And it makes it really hard for guys like us that want to tell a story. You can't really tell a story in a TikTok reel or an Instagram reel. I mean, you can to some extent, but I think what it comes down to there is the advantage that I'm having over them. It's like I've said on this podcast, like I told you, like we don't have to be the best shooters and best editors. We don't have to add all this flair, but we're going to do, I'm saying in generalities, something that guy can't do. And that's have infrastructure that he can't compete with, relationships he can't compete with, track record and a reputation, and all of these things that took 10, 15 years to build.
Right.
Yeah, can he put together some cool edits? But how many times is he going to do that as a creative and be a weirdo, like most creatives are, like we've talked about? And like, yeah, that guy's super talented. He can make some cool reels, but God, he's a freaking weirdo. I would rather use these guys and get value in other ways. And I think that we can do a good job of those things. But once we get to the point now, and I'll also like, if you dive deeper into some of these guys that are doing that, that's all they do.
Yep.
They don't do anything else. And if that's the only thing I did, I'd be really good at it too. But I also think in some of those cases, that's the only thing they can do. Like for them to tell a full episodic story or documentary, they'd be like, how long you want this to be?
Can I do
20 minutes? And like, no chance.
do it in 20 seconds?
They don't know how to craft that story. And I'm not saying this is everybody. This is just my assumption. And this is the I guess the empirical data I have is knowing some of those guys that do that. They're very, very talented, but they can do one thing really well.
Right.
And we have to be able to do lots of things well. But like trying to get guys that specialize in certain things, which that's what you're going to learn too, is like, hey, you're a crazy good photographer and you can do these things in video. Well, when somebody calls for this, I learned very early on, like, don't try and do everything. Find people that can do that, make a little money on it, keep people happy. Don't try and be the utility knife or the Swiss Army knife for everything, because you're just not going to be good at everything. Yep. And guys that think they're good at everything, they are okay at all of them.
Right.
We're really good at telling long form stories, managing relationships, like big episodic, full year projects. Like that's what we're good at. Can we do that short form stuff? Yeah, we can. But now it's like some of that stuff is taking these guys days and weeks to do. I can't make money on that. If I'm going to charge what I need to get to make that reel for you, it's going to be expensive. So, I think that figuring out what you specialize in, what you do well, and doing well at that, and what you don't do, like, graphic design or web design or whatever, like because people are going to call you about it because they assume that you take photos and do video, that you can do all those things. Well, you can, right? But you just let this guy do it.
Exactly.
And you manage it. Yep. You become the middleman manager for those things, but I don't know, in terms of that imposter syndrome, dude, I've thought that since the beginning. I look around at, what little we've done. I'm like, how did this happen? How did I screw up and do this, but like, this is to me, this is more valuable than even as valuable. I wouldn't say more valuable than, the company and everything, is like the people I've met, the places I've got to go, those experiences that you can't put a price tag on.
Cannot.
Like lifelong buddies. Like me and you might not talk for 8 months, and I'll call you, but hey, we get ready to do this Bass Pro thing. You in here? Like, hell yeah, let's go. But that is, I don't think that's unique to maybe our industry, but I think it's unique to guys that do what we do with the mindset that we have. And it's hard to relay that to my wife, is like, what's your plan? It's like, we've got this much of a plan, and you want this much of a plan. Well, we don't this much of a plan because it's going to get screwed up.
Right.
But like those people and those relationships, like those are currency. They really are.
It is. It really is. And, that's what makes, your team's an awesome team. And that's why you guys get utilized so much, because, as you go to a lot of these places, and sometimes they're not going to be the best accommodations. The weather's going to suck. Something's going to happen. And it's, a lot of people can break, throw a hissy fit. And if you have a client, and if you guys can stay positive, crack jokes, even in shitty times, and that goes a long way.
But even beyond that, like, and this has happened to us, and this will end up happening to you too. And I think the advantage, when people ask, well, why should I pay more to have a production company versus just hire somebody in-house? To me, the answer to that is, you can hire someone in-house, and I'll even use you working for Barnett. It's like, that's great. You made really good money doing that, but you weren't there very long. And my assumption would be because all you did was crossbow stuff day in, day out. And I think that's the hardest thing for a creative, is for you to stick him in a lane and he just gets to go in this lane every day.
It's tough.
And we get calls. We've had a handful of clients I can think of off the top of my head that have hired in-house people. They're there for a year and they leave. They'll bring in another one. He's there for a year and he leaves. And they're just like, at some point, when is this counterproductive for us to have somebody in-house when we can just outsource this? Right. And then guys like us we can do this project, and then we can do this one. Yep. And this one's totally different than this one's totally different than this one. And now what do we do? And we're well-rounded.
Yep.
We don't get bored. Guys get to challenge themselves in a genre they might not do very well at, or they get to work with a rider who's really good at it and they learn from him, or something I'm good at and they learn from me, or they work alongside you and they become a better photographer for products or lifestyle or whatever. And nobody's bored. And you get to the certain point, like my goal has always been, I want to get good enough or big enough to where I can say no. When somebody calls me and they're like, hey bro, I need you to come film this, something like, wedding or whatever. It's like, nah, find somebody else. Like I'm not doing that. And like, that was always the thing, because in the beginning, you can't tell nobody no.
Right.
You're going to get calls for crap you don't want to do. Well, if you want to make money, you better do them.
Yep.
You got to grin and bear it and have a, positive attitude.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a wild world we live in, and we've got to experience some absolute crazy things.
Well, it's hard to explain to people sometimes, like what all this job entails. It's like, well, you traveled where? Then you got back from there and you went where? And you were there for how long? And you did what? And it didn't make sense to me in the beginning. I didn't know what I was getting into. I had no idea.
Nope.
And I saw this, what I thought would be this like glamorous, really cool, get to go to a bunch of cool places, which I did get to do. But like once you get behind the curtain, dude, it's just a bunch of rednecks that like to go hunting, and you're trying to polish a turd every day. That's what you're doing.
Exactly.
You're polishing turds, man,
Right.
and managing rednecks. That's what you're doing.
Yep. 100%.
It's at the end of the day, which we were talking about how simple dudes are in the truck on the way here. That's literally every camp you go to is a bunch of red-blooded rednecks that like to kill ducks, deer, turkeys, elk, whatever. And we're there to try and tell some story, sell some product, create some imagery, and try and have a good time doing it. And that's as simple as it is. And in terms of like, when are we going to get there? How long are we going to be there? How are we going to get there? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Absolutely.
So that's my favorite question. When are you going to be home?
I don't know.
As soon as we kill some, baby.
Yep. I always loved too. My mom would call, and her first question would be not like, "Hey, how are you?" It'd be, "Where are you at?
Where are you at?
Where are you at in the world?"
Yeah.
Like, I like that.
My favorites. My mom would say, she'd say that too. It's like, "Hey," and you wouldn't know I'm gone. I'm like, "Hey, mom, I got have to go. We're about to hunt. We're about to go out." And she's like, "Where are you at?" And I'll be like, "In Canada." She's like, "Canada? How'd you get to Canada?" I walked, Mom. Well, how long have you been there? Well, been here for 3 days. Well, when you coming home?
Yep,
It's
yep.
just like, golly, Mom, I'm 38 years old. I think I'm okay.
I'm a grown ass man.
Yeah. But mama's going to be mama. That's what mama
Oh, yeah.
does.
Yeah, man. It's a very unique, I think, the niche that we're in, the hunting world, the fishing world, that outdoor. It's so unique because if you have the gumption to go do it, and you love to travel and you love to see the world and do crazy things, like I don't think there's anything better.
That was going to be my kind of closing question. If you were to give someone advice to your 19-year-old self, or some 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kid that would like to get into something similar, what would be your hey, do this, be this kind of person, handle these things? Like, what would be your advice?
Obviously, everything's changed so much now, but definitely, I mean, go out, shoot stuff on your own, right?
Mhm.
Make some stuff, and then shake every hand you can, and shake it like it's the most important shake you'll ever do in your life.
Yep.
Show up when you want to show up, or show up when you needed to be shown up.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just for me, it's stay positive.
Yeah.
Always stay positive. And if you get that opportunity, embrace whatever suck is coming.
Yeah.
Because if you can do that and you can roll with punches, you'll be successful.
At what percentage of this job is rolling with punches, you think?
Whoa, 90 plus.
Yeah.
I mean,
How many times did things go to plan?
almost never.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with wild animals, you're dealing with weather, you're dealing with the outdoors, you're dealing with a group of people that may or may not know each other. Like there's so many variables.
So many
You can plan as much as you want, but just also throw in there, this is what's going to happen when the plan gets thrown to crap, because
Right.
it's going to happen.
And that's where the real people shine. Is
Mhm.
when it goes from awesome to shit,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can make something out of that.
Yep.
That's where it.
And I'll say this too, which I know you kind of already said it, but one of the most important things for me is when the cameras get put down at the end of the day, you can be one of the guys.
Yep.
People want you around or don't mind you around when the cameras get put down. You're one of the guys. You can be a part of the conversation. You're not the guy in the corner like, hey, man, can we take a picture together? Hey,
don't be that guy.
Yeah, you're the weirdo in the corner Snapchatting somebody that's there.
Oh, my God.
Like, that's the guy that, like, yeah, that guy's not coming back.
Nope.
But you jump in there, you start telling jokes, you jump in the stories like everybody's doing, and you be the guy that's like, you know what? Like Evan Hafer from Black Rifle said something to me this year that stuck with me. And we went to an event for Black Rifle, and they went to the Comedy Mothership. And Black Rifle essentially bought out like half the place. And they're like, hey, we've got a ticket for you to go if you want to go. I'm like, oh, man, well, you don't have to do that because, it's not a cheap ticket.
Right.
And so Black Rifle, Evan, essentially paid for me and like 50 other people to go to this. And I was just going to hang out and like see some clients and stuff, kind of do the shaking hands thing like you're talking about. Well, I go in and I walk out and I see Evan. So I shake Evan's hand, which I've been in camp with Evan, known Evan for years. And I'm like, hey, dude, I really appreciate that. Like, you didn't have to let me go. He's like, man, you're always a welcome face. And that's all he said. And like, that stuck with me is like, okay, this guy who started this gigantic company, who's got so many friends that want something from him or would take advantage of him in a minute. It's like, well, you spent time in camp with that guy. You've done things in like now, and he's saying that you're a welcome face. That meant a lot to me, and that's where, that's the simplest form.
Yep.
Just be that guy that when you leave camp, it's like, what'd you think of FaFa? I was like, man, he was awesome. We had a really good time.
Right.
They're not going to think of, he only took 10 really good images. No, they're going to be like, yeah, I'd love to have that guy on camp again. Oh yeah. And by the way, crazy good photographer.
Yeah. And that's it too. Cause you could, that first line of who you are is when you go out and shoot it, film it, and then you leave camp. That's your first impression.
Yep.
They haven't seen your end work yet.
Yep.
So if you're weird or if you're that guy taking photos of whatever, just being, in someone's personal space, and just not acting like one of the guys.
Reading the room. Yeah,
right.
Understanding that
Read
too.
the room, right? If that's off, but you still create these amazing things, you might not get the call back because they don't want to be in camp with you. Because like, man, it's just kind of like, he does great work. Really kind of weird.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's that, and to add to that, the trust factor.
100%.
Can they trust you?
100%.
Because when these guys are in these camps, 90% of the time, especially guys that have lots of money, they're there to unwind. They're there to be with their buddies. They're there to hunt. They're there to have a few drinks. They're there to tell some stories. And if you are the wrong kind of guy, how much footage or how many stories do you know that could burn everybody you know?
Oh my goodness.
All of them. I have all of them. But guess what happens if that happens? You no longer have a job.
Yeah.
Your reputation is gone.
Yep.
So, it actually happened. I can't remember who it was. And I think it was in Deseret that they brought in some freelance kid who was there when Rogan was there. And they're telling some funny story and like he's trying to Snapchat it. It's like, bro, that's a quick way to never get called again.
Never.
Ever. It's like, is it really cool to be in camp with Rogan? Absolutely. But guess what? Guess when you get a picture of Rogan? When there's a group picture and somebody asks for it.
100%.
You don't go up to him and get a picture with him. You just don't. Like, whether people believe you or not, who cares? Like, if you're there to chase clout and to say, I've been in camp with this person, then you're not doing it for the right reasons in the first place.
And a lot of times, like those people, like if you treat them as just a normal person and like you really actually you'll get that intimate side of them that they don't show the public.
Yeah.
Or like next thing you know, you might actually you're like, hey, that guy was cool. I actually want to bring him here to do something like that, to go on a filming project with or something. But I wish I could take pictures of all the incredible famous people that I've met or filmed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just not going to be that guy.
It's not worth it.
Right.
It's not worth it. And then to violate someone's trust. And because once that happens, all those guys know each other.
Oh yeah.
They're like,
It's
hey,
small.
that FaFa guy is kind of a weirdo. Like he was over there Snapchatting pictures of somebody, and like he was looking at the corner, and he was doing all this. It's like, I just don't know about that guy. And well, guess what? Now everybody knows.
Right.
It's at the core of this industry, it's crazy small.
You can't trust them bald gingers, man.
That's the truth. Just gingers, period. Let's be honest.
I mean, you got one downstairs. I'm scared of.
Well, dude, I appreciate the heck out of you. We're gonna start shooting all this stuff tomorrow, but the stuff that we're shooting this weekend will not come out until springtime, correct?
Correct. Pretty sure, yeah.
So by the time people listen to this, we'll have completely forgotten about the products. But maybe by then we'll be able to share some stuff that comes out. Maybe you'll see it in some stores. It'd be kind of cool.
I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Me too. All right, bro. Well, I appreciate you.
Thanks.
Bye.